What's good? What's good? It's another episode of Entrepreneur Insights. It's your boy, Coach P.
It's Hayes.
Alright, so Hayes, what we talking about today?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about everything that everybody else is talking about. Or the one thing everybody else is talking about. We're going to talk about Mr. West.
Alright.
Yay.
Kanye's.
Yeah, man. And, well, the overall goal that I want to express throughout this podcast is I want to encourage higher level thinking. Beyond just the move past beyond if somebody says something we don't agree with or we don't like. Because I think a lot of times the translation with most people, even myself, I know that I don't relay information the best way because sometimes it's so much in my head, I just gotta get it out the best way I can, and my explanation just don't follow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
you don't articulate yourself to the fullest extent.
No, not at all. Nah, I ain't gonna cap. Cause one of the things, like Kanye has said things to get that knee-jerk reaction. I think that's a sometimes this man's a billionaire, right?
I mean that's always been his strategy to say something or say something that's news clickbait worthy or whatnot, or do something that like wear a White Lives Matter shirt or wear the red hat just to stir up controversy so he can grab that attention.
Definitely.
That space.
Well, he's a billionaire.
He was doing this before he was.
So no, what I'm saying is, do you think at this point he's a billionaire, right? So Jay-Z's a billionaire, and do you think that once they obtain this wealth, that they won't put on the game? They won't put game. You know what I'm saying? People didn't tell them this is how you manage it. This is how you deal with people. This is what you can say. This is what you can't say. This is how you make more money. This is how you take. You know what I'm saying? So like they done been through the ringer of information. So just know that is two things can happen at the same time and still be true. He could be losing his mind a little bit, enough to give away the secrets and just not articulate it well enough, or he could just be, saying what he really want to say.
So I'm under the impression, I've been following Kanye for a while, and I'm one of the type of people who will actually sit down and deliberately listen to full on 3-hour, 4-hour interviews of Kanye. And so I'm pretty much hip to just his philosophy and his way of doing things. But like I always tell everyone, like just in my circle, like just sit down and just listen to the full interview. Don't listen to like bits and pieces of it. Don't listen to the quick little flashes that come across like your timeline. Like sit down and deliberately listen to the full interview and really hear what he's saying, because he's saying some powerful shit at the end of the day. And if you listen to it like in a quick news bite or you're not gonna get the fullness of the message. That's just with anything. But right now, today I watched the full Drink Champs interview, and I'm just like, as I always am when I watch a full sit down interview with Kanye, like he's very coherent, he's not crazy, like he articulates himself in such a manner like I understand, but if you take quick little sound bites, you know how the media can manipulate that shit and rally up the whole machine behind you, and I guess you ready for that.
So let me ask you this now, right? Because let's go and get into it. So when Ye said Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves, she just, I'm paraphrasing, but basically took them to work for other white people. What did you take from that? You don't have to answer it, but I have an answer.
You want me to answer it?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, if you're comfortable with
I when he was on TMZ and he was like slavery was a choice, I took that metaphorically. I didn't take that as he was attributing that to the slaves that were brought over here from Africa. And he could have been speaking on them, because if you watched Black Panther?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did Killmonger say?
What he says that my ancestors knew that death was better than bondage or something like that, and we praise him for that one.
Hey, he said the same exact thing, but I took it as Kanye was talking metaphorically, just about just the mental bondage that we are in, the economic bondage that we like continue to be in as a culture of people, and so that's how I took it. But even in this Drink Champs interview, he said he was talking to his father, and his father gave him some wisdom about just being more sophisticated about how he articulates himself. But I mean, it's all in the grand scheme of things. I think he does things to grab our attention, to stir up controversy, and get us talking, which he got us talking right now at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, so I think he was literal and metaphorical at the same time when he said slavery was a choice, because he said slavery was a choice. He didn't say captivity was a choice. And I was watching another interview on Comedy Hype, which I'll Be Back. Apparently, I didn't know they were good friends. You know, ATL. You remember the boy with the broke arm?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll Be Back. So he was talking about, you know, captivity is different from slavery. Captivity is where it starts. Slavery is the continuation. And when he said 400 years, he was talking about the continuation, not the fact that you. But most people don't like initial confrontation, because it makes them guard themselves, because
it makes people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. So I mean, but at the end of the day, it technically was a choice. Captivity was a choice at the end of the day, because you could have chose to fight to the death, but you chose life. I mean, there's nothing wrong with choosing life, because that's pretty much how all of us are here. You know what I'm saying? But it's a choice at the end of the day. You got to live with your choices. When he said Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves, you know, and she said herself, you know, I could have freed more if they knew they were slaves, right? But I took it as, because at first I was like, what the fuck you talking about? But then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, technically we're still not free as a people. And you know, as you make more money, you definitely get to look at it from a scope of outside looking in, and we still having to work our way up the ladder and continually working for these people. It may not be, involuntary on the same level, but it's still involuntary, because we can't make a living wage, so we have to put ourselves in bondage to these corporations. And then on top of that, we put ourselves in bondage to these labels and all these other things. We're still technically slaves.
So Kanye always been speaking on this, and if you find interviews from 10 years ago just about just his vision of the Yeezy brand and the purpose of like why he made the design of his clothes look like homeless people clothes, and he deliberately did that so everyone can, whatever Kanye design or have his designers make, people go buy that shit at the end of the day. But in the song All Falls Down, that song All Falls Down, which he sampled from Lauryn Hill, All Falls Down. From the MTV
the
Unplugged album. Shout out to Lauryn Hill. He talks about us being slaves to what he said. He said, I can't even go to the grocery store without some ones and a clean and shirt. You see, the American dream, the people highest up. Like he's talking about like just bondage, us being in bondage. So when he went on TMZ and had his quote unquote rant, I took it as the metaphoric version of us being slaves, and part of him articulating part of like the misunderstanding, which I believe like the misunderstanding between people is deliberate, just to stir up controversy and talk. But I just took it metaphorically, bro.
Yeah, I mean, one dude said he said something where he said
we all a slave to something, bro.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we all got a price. I don't care what anybody wants to say. We all got a price.
Mental slavery, like. We can have a whole other discussion about who you vote for, who you consistently vote for, why you consistently vote for them, like just But that's a whole other subject for
I mean,
another
it
day.
is, but it all stems from people not accepting. Most people want to go with the norm. They don't want to break away from the norm, and because it causes chaos and confusion in their spirit of some sort, right? And he obviously, this man is on a level of wealth that we're not on. He made it out, so and it's easy for some people to say, money ain't everything, and I caution people on telling other people that, because you don't want to kill the dream, but you definitely want to tell them that the love of money won't bring you happiness, but money can bring you other things that can ultimately lead to that. It's just the way you use it, right? But most people, when you say stuff like that, they just and then they don't want to listen to everything that follows. But like, think about like the STEM player, right? I didn't think about this till today, until I think I'll Be Back said it. But he was like, the STEM player was another way that you can make music.
What's the STEM player?
The thing Kanye tried to sell, he sold Don the 2-on, is that little device.
Oh, okay.
And that was the only way you could get it.
You gotta let these people know what the STEM player
Yeah,
is.
I'm sorry. The STEM player is it's like a little MP3 really.
All right.
And it's like got a little speaker on it, like a little Google Home, a little futuristic Google Home. But it's a way to put music back in the artist's hands. But also, when you listen to the music, you're not distracted by everything else. So you're not getting on Instagram, you're not getting on the internet, you know what I'm saying, you're not seeing this picture, you're not getting a phone call. Like, you can purely listen to the music without any interruption, how it used to be. Because now we listen to it, you know what I'm saying, you're getting a phone call, or you know what I'm saying? So it's so many distractions. So it's basically putting music back at its purest form. Whether that was his goal, we don't know. But when I pay attention, I think about it more, I could understand, I could see where it's beneficial, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to get people to get to, is just look deeper. You may not understand his goal, but you can understand something, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So the higher controversy of what's going on now with Kanye is your quote-unquote anti-Semitism comments that he made, which, and want to be deliberate with how I speak about this subject, is he has an observation of how business transactions go down within the music industry, or just within corporate America industries within it of itself, and he witnessed certain things and he's just speaking on them. He said DEFCON 3, and so I had to look up what DEFCON meant. Mm-hmm. And so when you look up DEFCON, and I'm going to pull that up real quick, the definition of DEFCON is really just defending yourself at a certain level. So I'm going to put this up here. What is the DEFCON? DEFCON. Give me 1 second here. What does DEFCON mean?
You might have to type out what it is.
DEFCON is an abbreviation for a Defense Readiness Condition, which is used by the U.S. military. It is a ranking system used to measure safety alerts with 5 levels in total. 1 is the most serious and signals serious nuclear war. So it's a defense mechanism. It's not an offense. Like, he's not attacking. He's defending. Like, when he says DEFCON, he's saying he's defending himself against just what he observed in the music industry and what he's observing in the media at the end of the day. And whether you agree with it or not, that's to be debated, But as far as it being anti-Semitism, I don't know if it is anti-Semitism. Basically, he's just making an observation, like, about just the music industry, where you have a certain culture who owns and operates at the highest form the record labels and controls the industry, and then you have another culture who produces the art for and also promotes the demise of their own culture for the financial gain of another culture at the end of the day. So I feel like he's just making an observation at the end of the day, and this man is risking his billionaire status, like Adidas. I'm pretty sure he wanted to sever ties with Adidas. I'm pretty sure he wanted to sever ties with Gap because what's going on. But this goes back to your main point earlier, which was, and you gotta remind me,
Which one?
So when Kanye decided to go on this whole rant and
so it's two things can be true at the same time. Either he's losing his mind and he's exposing the world for what it is, or he's just doing it because of his free will and he's not losing his mind, but this is just the best way to get it out to make you listen.
now the biggest thing is what's Sway right.
Oh, what's Sway right? Oh yeah. So all right, three things. All right, so I'm gonna go back to anti-Semitic. Right? I think more so what they were saying with anti-Semitic was him making the statement that black people are the real Jews. That's always been up for debate, right?
He said he
Or
he clarified that. He said we're one of the lost tribes of the Jews. So you got 12 tribes of
Israel, and then but now and see, when it comes to religion, it's real funny. Most religions are let me say between Judaism, Catholicism, whatever you said, and Christianity. So Catholicism, you know what that means, right? It means universal. That's what the word Catholic means. So universal God. Anyway, they all believe in the New Testament or the Old Testament, and then it gets hit after that going into the New Testament, and even with
I know the Catholic,
even with the Muslims, and so the foundation is all rooted in the same thing, and then they kind of break off, and then so it's pretty much all our religions are pretty much family disputes, whether you want to say between the tribe of Israel or whatever. But I think and I really want to sit down with a Jewish scholar to actually ask them, is it anti-Semitic saying that black people are the real Jews, or is it anti-Semitic saying black people are Jews? Because that needs clarification.
All right, but what?
That's one thing.
All right, Sway. I want to make sure we stay on Sway.
Yeah. So I'm going to go on to two things.
All right.
I forgot the second thing you said. All right, we'll just go to Sway, right? So if you listen to the Drink Champs interview, in the first couple of minutes, Nori said, "Was Sway right?" Right? And the argument, what Kanye was trying to convey to Sway at the time was, I want to do this. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. Nobody's willing to help me. Sway was like, well, why can't you just do it for yourself? And he went off on him, and we all know what happened, right? The reason he went off on him is explained in the first 5 minutes of this episode, is he said, I needed the manufacturers, which is the most kept guarded secret, just like Colonel Sanders', secret recipe. Nobody's going to expose where they get it from, right? Whether it's a bum doing it, and kids are doing it in China, we still not gonna tell them. So what he did was he interned himself under these brands so he could learn who the manufacturer was and how to get it done, who to go to.
Spook that set by the door.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then after that, he said, okay, well, and I'm assuming that this is his way to get out of everything so he can go off on his own, because now he has the answers.
Shit coming full fucking,
you know what I'm saying?
Full fucking circle.
That's what we assuming. And then so he said Sway was right, which everybody knows Sway was right, but also at the end of the day,
he had to break the glass ceiling.
He had to get partnerships to get to that status.
And that he had to break the glass ceiling. He always talks about breaking the glass ceiling, bro. Man, it's gonna be a debatable topic, but I see him as a civil rights leader at the end of the day, because he penetrating different certain statuses that we haven't entered before. And this goes back to our discussion that we had maybe a couple weeks ago, just about when we talk about billionaire status, like we well underrepresented, less than 1% of billionaires is black. So it's only a handful of Negroes that have entered that status here in America, that billionaire status in America. So when we talk about supporting our billionaires and whatever struggles they're going to, it's all about seeking to understand.
Yeah. I mean, just take the time, bro. Seek to understand. Take the time to listen, or take the time to try to understand where people coming from.
Fuck what the media just propagating all on the TV screen, because that shit is just smoke and mirrors. Like sit down and and I know we don't have the time and the patience, but we got the time and patience to do everything else. But I know this interview is 3 hours long. But if you sit down and deliberately listen, just listen, and then we can debate if we can debate from there. But I can't debate somebody that
when willing to expand their brain.
Not even that. I can't debate you if you're not listening to the full extent of what he's saying, because we're speaking two different languages at that point. You focused on what the media propagating. I'm focused on the whole totality of what the fuck he's saying. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, but that's what it. So when you look at it, bro, and people not going to hear this, right? But Ye is a civil rights leader to a degree. I'm gonna say everything to a degree, because I can't say fully blown, right? Because I'm not versed in that subject to really speak on it. But as I see it, Ye is a civil rights leader. Candace Owens is a civil rights leader. It's Thomas Sowell, Dr. Claude Anderson. More than, in my opinion, more than the people that we traditionally think is one. Besides, and I'm gonna leave out Marcus Garvey, Red, I can't think, Malcolm X, and King, because those.
God damn, nigga, you took a long time to come up with them names, my nigga. We
No. I'm just saying, but I'm gonna leave them out just because their story is still being developed, and because King's vision was so much bigger than what he accomplished, and we as black people we just stopped it. Yeah, we just stopped at okay, this is what it is, but he was trying to do a whole different shebang bang, and it just his dream was what happened to a dream deferred, and it stopped. But they are civil rights leaders in the fact that they are pushing narratives to force us to or trying to force us to expand our brains to think about some things. I'm not saying everything they say is right. Sometimes their message is not conveyed as well because we ain't trying to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? But they're definitely pushing the envelope forward to make us think about certain things. Apparently there's a documentary talking about George Floyd. I don't know nothing about it. I'm gonna go try to find it so I can watch it. But there was a documentary and going into it and discusses some things he was talking about George Floyd and fentanyl or whatever.
Yeah, but
I don't know. Yeah. But I'm not going to say he's wrong for that until I go and try to do. You know what I'm saying?
Do your due diligence.
Do my due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes me smarter than the next man, because I'm willing to say, let me find out.
So I wanted to wrap this into just how this is important to entrepreneurship at the end of the day, because social relationships, cultures, messaging does affect business at the end of the day. Kanye had partnerships with Balenciaga,
mm-hmm.
Gap,
mm-hmm.
Adidas, and
CK or something, his talent agent or whatever.
Yeah, so he has his school, and also JP Morgan Chase. All of these brands severed ties, and I believe that Kanye strategically went on this whole White Lives Matter and then talking about the Jews in order for them to, as an out, to oh nah, if y'all taking advantage, if y'all fucking me in them contracts, I got something for you. I'm gonna hit you with the boomerang. And so this nigga put on a White Lives Matter shirt. Nigga gonna Tucker Carlson. He's doing all of these things to where it's not beneficial for those brands to have him as a representative or as a face. So now he already they've capitulated. He's captured the culture. Now the Yeezus brand, which he owns 95% of, mm-hmm. and Kim owns 5% of. Mm-hmm. Now he's positioned to promote that brand exclusively without all these partnerships.
What also,
and he has the minds of the children of the culture that you know what I'm saying, that these higher ups, mm-hmm. All the way, come on.
And well, also, don't think that these brands ever tie with him and not paying. Don't think he not getting some money out of this.
This nigga here, this nigga's.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's when Kanye hollering about "Don't kill me," it's because it's deeper.
Yeah.
It's deep. It's deep as fuck right now. Don't get it fucked. Don't get it fucked. This shit is deep. He rattled some shit. He's like the spook that sat at the door, and everybody knew he was a wild card. And don't think that his big brother ain't got shit to do with this. This is a 40 chess match.
Oh wait. His big notice he never used to back in the day he would talk bad about him. And then now he ain't say nothing about him.
This is a 40.
He ain't even mention his name. He just mentioned the brand.
This is a 40 chess match. So if saying something bad about him is, I'm gonna leave it at that. This shit here is just like they say. Watch the throne. They said watch it. We watching right now. We watching this shit right now.
All I'm saying, man, expand your mind. Don't be ignorant. Being ignorant is stopping at what you don't like to hear. That's all I'll leave it at, man.
Well, with that being said, this has been another episode of Entrepreneur Insights. This your boy Kosha P.
Hayes.
Signing off to the next episode.
Yes, sir. Hey, but you notice he didn't mention that man's name not one damn time.
Who?
All he mentioned was his brand.
No, he didn't mention Jay-Z in his
Well, but what I'm saying, like, he didn't mention him as far, because remember at one point he was like, trying to buck against Jay-Z, but I think he seen the bigger picture, and now he's like, oh we all in this together.
Hey, bro, at 444, with Jay-Z, he be like, I made 3 billionaires.
How and all this shit started? Come on, bruh. And trust me, you don't think Ye still got Jewish friends that are real powerful? They just gotta save face, bruh.
This shit here is deep. All right, I want to put this episode together first, so let's go upstairs. Matter of fact, I just want to put this episode together, to be honest with you. Let's just put this episode together, because this is going to be a good one.